these are going to be your notes on forces. Now again, as we start these notes on forces here, understand that over the last quarter, we have spent the quarter analyzing motion of objects. And so we've talked about how fast they go, we've calculated their acceleration, we've talked about how long it takes to go somewhere, we've talked about how far they travel. And now what we're getting into is going, well, what makes these objects move that way in the first place? And the big deal is it's all because of forces. So we're going to talk about forces, we're going to identify some, and then we're going to draw pictures so that we can determine what happens to its motion with certain forces. So first of all, we have to do a basic definition of what a force is. So a force is just simply a push or pull on an object. Now, the other thing you need to know about a force is it's measured in newtons, which is capital N. Now, in this class, we're going to talk about 4 different types of forces, and we'll talk about how those are the 4 types that exist on objects. So type number 1, so we'll do types of forces here. Okay, number 1 is the one we talked about yesterday, and that is weight. Okay, which we label with a W. And as a reminder, this is the force of gravity acting on an object. Now, it is always directed straight downwards. And you have to remember, based upon what we talked about yesterday, is that W equals mg, so we can calculate the weight of an object as well. So that's type 1, is weight. Now, type number 2 is what we call the normal force, which we label capital F and then a subscript capital N. Now, if we just only had weight on objects, then all objects would go straight to the center of the earth. But there's got to be something there that keeps them in place, and that's the normal force. And this is the force of a surface pushing up. Now, I'm going to circle surface because if you don't have a surface, then you can't have a normal force. And I say that because in a little bit we'll talk about things falling through the air, and if it's falling through the air, it has no normal force. Okay, and then number 3, a common one that you know about, is friction force. And we label that as capital F, subscript little f. And this occurs because of the interaction between 2 surfaces. Occurs because of the interaction between 2 surfaces. Now, the important thing about friction is that it always acts opposite the direction of motion.
Oh, is it quiet in here or what?
I'm taking a video.
What's that?
I'm doing video. Direction of
Did I
motion.
just been interrupted?
That's okay. Mr. Elwell's just stopping by to say hello, everybody. Okay, so friction force occurs because of the interaction between 2 surfaces, and it always acts opposite the direction of motion. Then there's the 4th one to talk about. And the last one that we'll talk about in this class is the force due to air resistance. And we call that F, air. And this is the force of the air molecules pushing upward as an object falls. So there's the 4 types of forces that exist. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is what's called the net force. So now you have a definition, the net force, which we like to say F net. Now this is the overall force acting on an object. Think of it like a paycheck. In your paycheck, you have a net sum that you get paid. It's your overall amount that you actually get to take home.